Hey y'all. Um, Thank you for tuning in. This is They Took My Choice Away Survivor Series. I am the host, Nettie Long Poetry. I am going to be waiting patiently for our guests to arrive online. Um, and my tablet is down, so I'm just going to disappear just for a moment so that I can make sure that Facebook is airing live. I always have a problem with that connection for some reason. So just give me a moment. I'm going to be offline. And now I'm back. Just give me one moment. I'm sure Sammy B will be on momentarily. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. Drop any questions you'd like in the comments so that I may see them and ask. Our special guest, Sammy B, is a poet herself. Um, she's also a mental health advocate. And when I allow her to, give her her opportunity, give her an opportunity to tell us about her. You'll see how amazing she is, how she uses art and different um, genres of art to help with depression and things like that. Um, I had an eventful day and I was running behind myself today. Didn't think I was going to be on here on time. But I know that you guys are eager. And those of you who are catching the replay, I appreciate you tuning in. Um, Let me just give her a quick message. Let her know we're on. Somebody say hi out there so I know who's watching. Let's see who's watching. Hi, Kenny. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for supporting. So let me just hit her up. I'm wondering if she's okay. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. There we go. Give us 1 second. I'm sorry. We're just waiting for our guest. However, the let's give you a quick update on me. Um, I think I had an award ceremony that I was going to be performing at, and also I was going to do some background singing for some singers. Um, and also some celebrities. And I was really excited about that, but it got postponed to December 15th. So I will not be doing that in October, which would have been October the 13th. Um, our next guest for next month is going to be uh, Michael John. And or I'm sorry, John Michael, and I'll get his last name in a minute. But he happened to be an Olympic swimmer, so that's going to be our next guest for next month. I'm just waiting for him to confirm the date. So I'm really excited about that interview. You guys are really going to be floored when you hear his story and how he made it through that impossible trafficking situation. He was trafficked. But They Took My Choice Away Survivor Series is just a platform, a safe platform for survivors to be able to share their story. And I wanted them not just share their story and share their trauma, but to show you guys that there is life at the end of trauma. Every one of our guests have persevered through trauma, and our guest today, she persevered through a lot of trauma. And so as these survivors come on here to share their experiences, we also want to be mindful for our viewers that may be easily triggered, or and we always just tell you, just if you have to step away, um, it's absolutely fine. You should. But nothing that is shared today is here to be harmful to anyone, but to also bring awareness. I think that there's just not enough stories that could be told. We are in season 3. I'm really excited about that. This is our second episode for season 3. Thank you for being patient. Our guest is here, and thank you for tuning in. Let me add her to the screen.
Hello.
Sammy B!
Hi.
What's up, Chica?
Yeah,
How
I'm
are
sorry.
we?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm wonderful, honey. I am so wonderful. And I'm excited that you're here with me today.
Yeah, thank you for
Yeah.
having me.
Oh God, it's an honor actually. Now I happen to meet officially Sammy B officially on her podcast with Kenny, and Kenny's in the audience today, being a true supporter.
Yay.
So listen, I would like you to give a snippet of, not even a snippet. I want you to take the platform now and tell everybody who Sammy B is right now, because I feel like we get so caught up in the stories, and people's experiences, that we rarely have time to know who it is that you are right now. So I want to get that out of the way, just for the purposes of getting to know who you are right now. And I'm going to leave the stage for you to do that. You can just
uh
let me know
yeah.
when to come back in.
Uh sure. I mean, I guess right now I am, a poet and a performer. I do like music gigs and stuff like that. So I also like sing, although, I'm not really that good, but um I do have like tracks out on Spotify and Apple Music and all that good stuff. A couple on Bandcamp if you have Bandcamp. Um and yeah, so I kind of just do different shows. I host different shows. I host Monday night at the South Jersey Hookah Lounge. I started hosting there last week. I run a show called Poetry and Paintings. That I'm sorry, my cat is like I run a show called Poetry and Paintings that showcase different artists and different vendors around, New Jersey, um, Philadelphia, New York, that kind of thing. So I just kind of do a lot of different things. I also clean houses. I also massage. Do Swedish massage, and I do fire massage. Um, and yeah, I just do whatever is needed of me. I do graphic design too, so if you want, hit me up. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, she does a lot of things, y'all. And
Yeah,
I
I
do.
could have kept going, but I just
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Like,
those are the main things I do now. I also teach, art classes and music classes and swim classes for kids if anybody's interested in that, but I'm not doing that so much. I'm kind of more focused on like the art right now.
mm. And tell us about that because in your bio it says that you are a multidisciplinary artist which explores mental health, racism, sexuality, and the disability through your poetry. Tell us how all that ties in.
Oh yeah. Well, actually, it's funny because I feel like recently my poetry has not been so much of those topics, but
Mhm,
it used to be. It it's just like a lot of, when you write, you tend to write about what you experience or you go through. And actually a lot of my sexually based traumas are in my art as well.
mhm,
So it's all very intertwined with me. So I want to say I have a song out right now that's called Be Real.
mhm,
And it's the one that goes, you don't gotta say too much. Say, you know what I mean? Kenny
mhm,
knows that one. But that one is about like leaving a a relationship that wasn't good for you. Like
mhm,
in my case it would be domestic violence, but like, it could be anything. So it's just kind of how like all of my experiences, like whether it was me growing up as like a child of an immigrant, or if it was like, experiencing racism, which I know a lot of people would look at me and think I don't experience racism, but I do. Um, it's just it's a different kind of racism than like, um, you know, Kenny would experience. You know what I mean? He experiences like black discrimination, whereas I experience like Asian discrimination, and it's a little bit different, I feel like.
mm.
Um, and yet the same.
Yeah. Um. So let's dive right into it. Can you tell us about your childhood? How was your childhood?
um, it was more, well, my mom was very Asian, so I was always doing something. Like I was in orchestra, so I was in a youth orchestra. I was in theater, so I was in like a professional production of The Wiz.
Mhm,
Um, so I remember just a lot of driving and doing my homework in the car and like, going to Kumdo practice and which is a Korean sword fighting. So
wow.
yeah, my childhood was very busy, and I would say it wasn't really like much of a childhood in terms of like I never really I remember playing with toys when I was like 4.
Mm,
Once I hit like 5 or 6, after that, I was really more on the computer, I think.
mm. Okay. Were you
Which I think
homeschooled or?
no, I wasn't homeschooled. I went to public school. and I was in the gifted and talented education program. So I would go in for school, then stay for the after school program for the gifted and talented education program. And then after that, my mom would pick me up and I would go to like violin rehearsal or whatever, you know what I mean, or
Mhm.
kondo practice or whatever class I had that day. Because of course you have to have extracurriculars on top of your extracurriculars if you're vegan. You know?
Yeah, I think I could relate in retrospect to your mom. I kept my kids very busy too. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, and just because, one season of sport finished, they were right into a right another sport. So there was three sports that they did. It was soccer, and then it was well, soccer was all year round. But they have different seasons of them, right? Like, there's
Yeah.
the
Well,
spring, there's the fall, and the winter, right?
Well, and I mean, it definitely like keeps you out of trouble because I was so innocent, like
Hmm.
up until I wasn't. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, I got you.
it was just like I just was never exposed to certain things, so, and I
Hmm.
think that's kind of what made it worse for me when I experienced certain people. It was like I didn't know how to handle it because it was like nobody has ever treated me this way before. So I don't even know what to do.
Hmm. Hmm.
I was always
That's
in
real.
spaces where people respected me because of what I was to like that community, if that makes
Mm.
sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. Culturally, sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
But that was like on the outside. On the inside, I mean, I don't think I was very happy at all.
Hmm.
Uh, I definitely, I definitely was aware of the fact that like my mom was kind of like living through me, if that
Hmm.
makes sense. I was aware of that. Not that like my mom was doing it on purpose, but it's
No,
kind
I'm
of
gonna tell you right now. I was the same way. Even with yeah, especially with my daughters. I felt like I I I was raising them. I wanted to raise them better, right? I
yeah.
thought I was raising them better, but really I was really living through them. I wanted to see the things that I couldn't do. I wanted them to accomplish them, and I
Oh,
had
oh
a
yeah.
goal for them in mind. Even like I, I swear to you, even with my granddaughter, I try, I do that. And
Yeah.
I had to take a step back because she felt like I was putting on unnecessary pressure on her. And that's real, right? So I had to step
Yeah.
back and take a look. You know what? If I'm doing that, I guess I don't. What we mean as parents is that we want what's best for you, and
Right.
right now we're thinking you don't know what's best for you. That's why you're our dependent. That's why it really comes along across those lines as that, but then it also is very toxic because it can be very toxic because the child is left with no choice at all.
Yeah, I mean it
And we
so
don't we don't associate that with toxicity, but it is.
right, right. And I want to say my mom did I feel like my mom did try to give me choices.
Good
Um
choices. I
it'd be
didn't.
like, you want to play piano or violin? You know what I'm saying?
I got,
Like,
yeah, but they still were her choices. They
right,
weren't really
right,
yours.
right.
It's like, you could do this or you could do that. Because either one of those things, that would make me happy.
Yeah,
We don't say
yeah.
them to you like that, right? We don't
But
say that to our parents. And I'm just trying to be real here because, we don't associate some of the toxic traits that we have as parents. And I'm real big advocate of being self accountable. We have to be aware of what it's toxic and can be toxic, like things that we say to our kids, like, if you don't stop crying, I'm going to give you something to cry about, that type of stuff. We don't think that that's toxic, but it is. And
yeah.
so I only learned things as I got whole and healed. And of course I had to have therapy for my
Mhm.
situation.
Mhm.
And I feel like that helped me be, be a better mother, to be more aware, to be self accountable, to understand that happened to me, the way that I was parenting, and so I was just taking what I know, and so when we become self accountable and self aware, then we do better.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, we do
And
better.
my mom definitely, you know, she had her toxic moments, but when I think about it, it's like she was how old when I was 7? Like she was
Hmm.
only 19 when she had me. So it's like you a baby too. So it's all right. She really didn't do that bad of a job.
Right. In
Um
hindsight, of course not. You do see
right.
that.
But
Hmm.
it's and I mean, you know, that's probably me minimizing abuse that she's put me through, but like overall I do feel like, you know, she does love me, so I don't want to, like, you know, say anything bad about her, but yeah,
No,
it
no, and
definitely
it's
is.
all right. I get it. I get it. And that's our loyalty to our family, right?
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean? Or in retrospect to the opposite of that, um, sometimes we'll mistreat our family, but the moment somebody mistreats our family, we're right there to defend them. That's
Oh
toxic.
yeah.
And so we all do it, right? We've all
Mhm.
done it. And like, I can talk to her like that, but you can't. You know what I mean? Type of
Yeah,
thing. Yeah.
yeah. I'm very big on that. Like, no, just cuz we talk to like this to each other doesn't mean anybody else can talk to us
Right.
like this. That's
But
crazy.
and at the same time, we're not taking accountability for the way the way that we mistreat our family. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, so I'm a big advocate of that. Self-aware, being self-accountable, being better parents, you know what I mean? I had to learn that. It was a hard pill to swallow when, you know what I mean, your kids get old enough to, talk for themselves. I don't know how many times I remember saying, shut up. I don't want to hear anything that you have to say. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
like we say things like that. It doesn't matter what you think. It's what I say. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
I think about it, I'm like, yeah, that was bad. That was
Yeah.
bad. But I had to, you will succumb to that. You'll be able to realize, you know what? Okay. You know, we're living in a day and age where people are, even kids are getting, counseling and things like that, even at school. We may not think it, we may not know it, but yeah, there's advocacy there for them, and they get bolder and things like that. And you need to be able to handle that. You need to be
Yeah.
able to understand that they have feelings too. We didn't procreate these children for them to stay the same or to remain, dumb. We're not always right.
Yeah.
So
My mom always says that, like, you know, oh, Samantha, you're so smart. Like, I raised you to be so smart. So I'm like, all right, well, you gotta trust me then, because you raised me to be
that's a
smart.
good one. That's a good one. Being able to trust them. Yep.
Yeah.
That they'll make the right decisions. Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to let go as parents. Um, Ooh, it was hard. It was hard. It was hard. And then even now, as an adult, I can't go to them, and they're adults now, except for one. But I can't go to them like, oh no, no, this still my house. It's my house. It's my rules. I still have to, like, I still have not confrontations, but I butt heads sometimes, and then I have to think, all right, you know what? He's right. He is an adult. You know what I mean? I do need to, treat him like an adult, and then we can have, civil conversations. I can't just be about what I think, you know just
Hmm.
because it's my house, and all of that. So you will adjust. I'm
Yeah.
Yeah, we do adjust when you guys get older.
I don't, well, so I think I'm lucky to have parents who will adjust. I don't think everyone does.
Yeah.
Um, you know, some people, their parents are, my mom is more toxic because she came out of a toxic environment.
Right.
So it's just generational trauma. It's not
Right.
necessarily because, you know, she's evil.
No, and that's bad, and that's big. That's big because it goes all the way back down from there. and to their parents and to their parents. It's just, at some point though, um, because I think in this century that we're more aware of, and have access to help um, with such things. I just think that someone has to break the cycle.
Yeah.
And someone
Yeah.
has to break it. Like, it can't continue to, because you start dealing with depression, and then you don't know your self identity is is all over the place. And we don't realize. I was just talking to my adopted daughter,
Mhm.
and she was just saying that somebody had asked her, how do two moms work, like in your family, because obviously we're not a couple, right?
Right.
But her maternal mom does stay with us sometimes, when she's out here to work and things like that. And they're like, people don't understand our relationship. It works. It works. It
Mhm.
works in a way that it needs to. And she explained it, that one is more understanding and loving, and the other one is sometimes can be very toxic. And I'm surprised that she said that. Um, very surprised that she said that. And she goes, I don't know what it is. I think what happened is that her and I happened to go through the same family trauma. And so because we did have access to mental health care and things like
Yeah.
that. It was, and I learned things along the way, and I learned how to be a better mother. That makes all the difference when you have
Yeah.
accessible health care.
Mhm. It
And,
really does.
and so in other cultures, it's not so, you know what I mean? Sometimes, people are just barely making it out there. And where her mother is from. So, uh, you know, at least she has some stability, um, and all of that. But it's good to know that she's safe. It's good to know that
Mhm.
she realizes that she has safety, and the
Yeah.
fact that we all are coexisting together is even more. There's more safety in that as well. You
Yeah,
know.
no, absolutely. I mean, like, even in my life, it's like, I don't think I would have gone through the different traumas in my life
Mm-hmm.
if it weren't for like the people around me giving me their support. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
think that really makes a difference. And that's like why I'm where I am today. Whereas, like, I very easily could have been, you know, in a completely different place, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And it's the scariest part about going through a trauma is your body doesn't feel safe. So it's like
Yeah.
you don't know who to go to.
Mm-hmm.
Um and it took me a really long time just to like even be able to go to the grocery store, which was like 2 blocks down from my house. But I just did not feel in my body or in my mind like I was safe.
Mm.
So it took a lot of digging for me to be able to be like, all right, because I was paranoid too,
Yeah.
because I have a borderline personality disorder, and at the time I was diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder. So
Mm.
the point is that I was having like delusions and like paranoia and stuff. So one of my delusions was that everyone in my life was like planted by the government and like faking their entire personality and like voting on whether or not they should kill me, which is I don't know where that thought came from, but it was just the thought that I had at the
Mm-hmm.
time because of, various things that had happened in my life. And it took me like a lot of like rationalizing of like, all right, even if everyone is planted by the government, there has to be at least one government worker who like kind of likes me and like is safe. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
so
Okay.
I called my neighbor. I was like, can you walk me to the grocery store? Cause like I was just convinced that if I walked outside, someone was gonna shoot me. Like,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay.
Um so yeah, it's that finding someone who is safe enough to like bet that they're not gonna be the reason that I die if I
Mm,
step outside. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
And it's really hard to like understand it when you haven't gone through it yourself, but for me it was a big deal because I was literally stuck in my house for like weeks. uh,
Mm,
yeah. um
wow. So, all right, let's just kind of, because we'll probably circle back to there. How, we'll circle back to there. So, what would you like to tell us today to our viewers about your experience and um, whatever you'd like to share, and then we'll just, dissect it from there.
well, I just feel like the most important thing is to seek safety. You know what I mean? Like after you've experienced the trauma, it and my problem was is that like I kept running from one situation into another situation. So I just felt like I was on fire at that point. Like I was burning everything too. Um it wasn't until I could like settle down and like feel okay, like I wasn't just running away from, the scary things that had happened to me, that it was like I could even begin to process what had happened.
Mm,
You know what I mean? So I really think that feeling safe, and if you have a community, if you have like a place to go to, that's even better. I didn't necessarily have a place I could go to. I had to like find it.
mm,
um but if you have a community to rely on, like that you can trust, because some people also come from like cultish environments so that they can't even trust their community. But
facts.
right. But if you do have a community you can rely on, like try to lean into like where you feel safe,
Hmm.
because until you feel safe, you're gonna be stuck in that state of traumatic like reacting, and there you just don't want to get in the hospital, land yourself in the psych ward, and like have some bitchy ass nurse drug you against your will because she decided she didn't like you crying that day or whatever, which like is also an experience I've had. It's like it says right there that I can refuse medication, but it's the truth is you can't. If especially if you're put there involuntarily, and a lot of people don't know that.
Mm,
So yeah.
wow.
I'm sorry. I just went
No,
on a
that's
whole like
okay.
rant.
Yeah, no, that's all right. I mean that's something to bring awareness to. You said you had to go and search and find safety. Where did you find safety in?
I found safety. Well, I found it in certain individuals in the art communities that I would go to. It's just really seeing familiar faces. Um, some neighbors that I would see all the time. Um, a lot of those, and a lot of them they would intersect. So like a lot of my neighbors happen to be artists. So because we had that like shared love of something
Hmm.
to bond over, I was able to, open up more and like find deeper friendships in those people. Whereas, because a lot of, when you're in a domestic violence or like, any type of abusive relationship, it one of the tactics that they'll use is to isolate you. So like
Hmm.
if you're coming out of that relationship, you probably don't have a lot of friends. So that was
Very
like my
true.
first thing is finding friends and finding people that like I could rely on. And that takes time. That takes
Hmm.
a lot of building relationships. Um which can be difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
especially if you're traumatized.
hmm you said that you were in a domestic violence relationship.
Mm,
Hmm.
yeah.
Um, what were some of the things that you felt besides isolation that you had to that you actually endured, and then how did you get out of it?
Mainly it was the financial abuse that like that,
Hmm.
and that's honestly like what made me leave that relationship. Because I know a lot of people will be like, oh, I would never let a man hit me, blah blah blah. No, I'll let you hit me. It's fine. Like, and I know that's not a good attitude to have, but like I don't know. I just have a high tolerance for things, and I also will be like, well, it's my fault because I did this, this, and this, and you know,
You find
oh
excuses
well,
to
right, yeah.
stay.
I'm
Hmm.
still working through like not being that way, but so it wasn't the physical. It wasn't that he abused me physically often anyway. It was just like
Hmm.
once in a while, but regardless, he was abusive.
Hmm.
It was really just the financial abuse that like that got me. Like I would like hide money in like my little wallet or whatever. I would have like, $1,000, and like I'd look one day and I only have $200 now. What happened to the $800 that was just here? And he spent it on Uber and like, getting takeout and all bunch of crap like that. So it it was getting to the point where like, Alex, where is the money for the rent? Like what is going on? So I had to move out because he wouldn't move out, even though he ended up moving out anyway because he lost the apartment after I left. But
Hmm.
whatever. um yeah, it
Well, the
was just,
important thing is that you got out, right?
yeah, it just
And you
wasn't
got
a
out
good
safely.
situation. Right.
Hmm.
Yeah. It wasn't a good situation. And it was even, even after I left, we would still like see each other and things like that. Like I would still call him, and so it takes a while to like
Sure,
remove yourself.
it
But
does. It's a process. It's a
yes.
process.
But it
Yeah.
was only after I started like finding other people to invest my time in instead of all of my time on him that like I was able to like start rebuilding my life.
Hmm.
Um yeah.
And I know that you keep yourself busy. You're doing so much for the poetry community, and I love that for you.
Oh,
But are you
thank you.
spending are you spending any quality time with yourself?
I have to because I have lupus nephritis. Which is an autoimmune disease. So a big reason I left Jersey City was it was just like I was way too stressed out,
Mhm.
and it was like my body was not handling it right. I couldn't even like walk. I blew up like a balloon cuz my kidneys weren't working.
Mhm.
Um and it's like stress will make it worse.
Right.
And at that time, I had left my relationship, but I was finding myself in like new relationships that were also like toxic because you don't just like come out and like, hey, I'm healed. Like you're damaged. And I was also in Jersey City, and I love Jersey City, but there's also like bad parts of Jersey City. So there's a lot of predatory behavior in Jersey City as well. So I'm entering this scene as a new person, and I'm very vulnerable. So predatory behavior, things like that. So it was a journey, because then I experienced a sexual assault, and I had a run in with, like, I tried to report it, but then the police knew him, so they didn't like believe me, even though they didn't outright say they didn't believe me, but they implied it, because he had said, like, are you sure you want to report this, because this is going to be on his record forever. And I was like, that's the point. Like, that's the point, to report what he did, so it's on his record forever, so that if he does it again, there's evidence that he did it before. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that was crazy to me that he had said that. Um, and ultimately it ended up messing up my entire case, because like that actually hurt me more than I think the sexual assault did ultimately, even though that hurt me a lot. But like, yeah, it was just like going to the police for help and not getting the help that I expected to get, because people in the neighborhood had heard things about me. And like, that's always going to happen to me, because I was a sex worker for like 6 months when I was 19, but whatever. Um Still to this day, like, people hit me up in my DMs, and then I try to tell them, like, I really am not a hoe anymore, but like, it's fine. But
See,
yeah, for real, it's a lot.
I got you. All right, but we're on the road of healing, right? And
Oh
so,
yeah, I feel like I am.
okay.
Um, it's so I do think my need to stay busy is a lot of, some of that is trauma
Well,
response as well.
that's definitely trauma response. That's definitely from,
Yeah,
it's all the way back from your childhood because you've done so much. That's what that's what you were groomed to be,
yeah.
an overachiever. You overachieve a lot, and but that's where you're safe. That's where you feel like you're safe, and so that's why I asked you, are you taking quality time for yourself? Because you have been through so much traumatic experience after traumatic experience. Will also, if you don't, what does it do? It has a ripple effect. It's going to continue if you don't stop the cycle, right?
Yeah,
So, um, I knew that you had experienced a whole lot of trauma, and thank you for sharing what you shared today. I know that
no
it's
problem.
never it's never really easy, to expose an old vulnerability and things like that. So thank you
Yeah,
so
no
much for
problem. I
sharing
mean,
it.
I should be thanking you, because it's like I don't I'm not getting the therapy that I need anyway. So like, I need to talk to somebody.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you're able to tell us here or talk with us here that you feel safe enough to do that.
Yeah.
Um, and but I know that you have the tools to need that you have the tools to get the help that you need when you're ready to get them.
Yeah,
And that,
I mean, a lot
yeah,
of this happened like a couple of years ago. So I feel
mhm,
like now I feel like it's been far away where I can talk about it. But for sure,
mhm,
it's definitely like it's hard. It's hard, because it still affects me today, because there's
sure.
just a bunch of things that happen that I can't erase it. So, you know what I
Right,
mean?
right. And just remember that the past is the past, right? And we all need
Mhm.
to remember this, that something that happened to us in the past, it's in the past. However, it does still affect us, you know what I mean? Because it happened to us. And so and that's okay too,
Yeah.
but when it starts affecting us in a way where we're not able to function, then we need to recognize when we need help. And I know that um, keeping yourself busy can only help, but so much, right? It doesn't always take the pain away or the sorrow away,
No.
but
It
it definitely does help, but get the help that you need. Talk to someone. Get yourself into some groups. Do you know of any groups that you could recommend, especially even in the arts?
Well, so when I used to live in Jersey City, there were a couple of groups up there. There's this one, it's Hudson County Speaks. They do like,
Mhm.
I think like weekly or monthly meetups or something like that. And that they
Okay.
they had one program where like you could knit, you would learn how to knit and stuff like
Ooh,
that.
I think that's
Um,
so therapeutic. I used to be able to knit. Hmm.
yeah, yeah. I don't know of any in my area at this moment.
Mhm.
I I've been focusing more on my physical health because,
Good.
right, the kidney situation
Mhm.
is not the best. So, it's just kind of like, focusing on my physical health, doing the shows, trying to promote my events and things like that.
Speaking of events, do you have something coming up that you want to share?
I have a show October 15th, I believe,
Oh, that's
in
coming up.
Plainsfield. Yeah, in Plainsfield, New Jersey. And then,
That's Sunday. Next Sunday
yeah, yeah, yeah.
in Plainsfield.
Mm-hmm.
And what you doing there?
I'm doing poetry, I believe. Or I might be doing music, or maybe both.
Are you the feature?
Yeah, I'm one of them. There's a couple of features.
So it's an open mic.
Oh, I don't remember. I think it's a showcase.
Okay.
I think it's a showcase. And
Nice.
Leading by Mission LLC is doing.
Okay. All right. So hopefully you got a flyer.
Yes, I do.
So put it in our comments, like when you go back to the Facebook and put it in there, so that way everybody has an opportunity. Because
Okay.
I'm friends with everybody on here, so maybe some Plainfields or people local to Plainsfield will come and support you.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah. All right, girl. Spread your wings out there. Is there a poetry piece that you'd like to share?
um,
I know that's kind of like I did not warn you. Uh, I don't know if
yeah,
you have anything.
I can do one. Yeah.
Okay,
Um,
bless us.
right. All right. Let me see if I can remember it. My friend told me his biggest secret. He enjoyed killing people when he did, sniping their heads off one by one. It was a proud military achievement. It would later become his deepest shame.
Mm.
I sat there for a minute and I thought about how he must view the world, how horrible of a place it must be in his mind to view himself as a killer, to see himself and to view a monster, but I had only ever seen him be loving. I had only ever seen him trying to be kind. Maybe it was his way of making up for all of his sin and his stupidity, but still. How lucky was I that he hated the world because he was convinced it hated him back, but still somehow he loved me. He loved me enough to share with me his shame. He trusted me enough to hold this space that held all of this pain. So I told him, you don't think you need to be ashamed. I mean, If you think about it, a long time ago, you would have been seen as a warrior protecting the tribe from the dangers of the unknown. The unknown is very dark and very frightening, even if it's just a person instead of the monster you thought that they were. I mean, of course, you felt good when you protected your tribe from the danger. Of course, it felt good. You were just doing your job. You didn't know what you know now. You wouldn't have done it if you knew what you knew now. And I think you can still get into heaven with knowing what you know now. And you know, I don't actually know if it's true. I mean, can people who have killed people still go to heaven? I don't actually know the rules, but have you ever been through something so bad? You didn't even have the courage to admit it out loud. It would choke you and stick in the back of your throat until you couldn't breathe and you were gasping for the breath of life that you needed. It was inside of your throat, choking all of your air until you became full of hot air and you started to thrash and attack everyone around you. Because I have. Yeah, me too. So how can I turn my nose at you for killing people you thought were bad and enjoying it, please? I've heard of way worse. And to be honest, I've done way worse, so. Oh, sorry.
Whoa. I know you deep, girl. Whoa. Whoa. That,
How can I turn my nose at you for killing people you thought were bad and enjoying it? I've done way worse. And to be honest, I have done way worse. But the reason why I believe he can still make it into heaven is because he admitted out loud his shame to me. And me, I don't even have the bravery to begin putting any words to it.
mm,
All right, there we go.
wow. Can I get some snaps out there, guys? Can I get some snaps? Wow. What was the inspiration to that piece, girl?
It was a lot of things. I mean, on the surface level, it was obviously a conversation between me and my friend who he was in the military, and
Mhm.
he said, like, there were times when I killed someone and like I enjoyed it. And I just keep thinking to myself, like, what the fuck is wrong with me? And I'm like, I really don't think that that's bad. Like, I don't know. That's just how I feel. Like, I really felt how I felt in the poem. Like, you
Mhm.
know, it, you were protect in your mind,
Right.
when you're in the military, you're brainwashed into believing that
So
like
true.
everything you're doing is for the greater good. You know what I'm saying?
Very true.
Right. So it's like, and the human body is dopamine receptors, and you know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, you felt
Facts.
good whenever you shot someone because it's like 10 points, like whatever. But like,
It's the job, and I don't know how military people can do their job successfully and it not affect them in any old kind of way. You know what I mean? And so I think your piece was kind of like right on it,
yeah.
right on it.
Yeah.
That we don't like to hear the ugly truths of things, but that was the truth. That I mean, I get it. I get the entire piece, and
Yeah.
so but I'm a poet, so I get it. I get it. But it was dark, it was deep, but it was the truth. I get it. It was beautiful. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for sharing. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Woo! And then you were all just so emotional with it, girl. You almost made me cry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I.
That was good. It was good.
Thank you.
Um, wow. That makes you like that much more powerful. Like, you're such a powerhouse to me. Um, I know it's not an easy thing, for us, for us to sometimes even bring up the past, to even talk about it. But when you are able to talk about it, you are able, we got to remember that we're also able to help someone else go through it too. And so this is what this platform is about. It's really to give, say, a safe space for survivors to be able to share their experiences and hopefully help someone along the way that might be experiencing some of the things that you've experienced and that you were able to share. So I thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything you'd like to share with us, for the next 4 minutes of this broadcast?
I guess if you'd like to follow me on Instagram, I honestly don't recommend it because I'll go crazy and I'll just go on these like crazy type rants and I'll lose a bunch of followers. I don't give a fuck if you follow me, but if you
Facebook.
want to follow me, ITSBYMMAS.
Oh, I
It's
forget
Sammy
you know
B
how to
backwards. So once
spell.
again, ITSBYMMAS. Um it's Sammy B backwards. You can also put a .com after that, or you could put a cash sign in front of it and send it to me on Cash App. Um,
Mhm.
that's it's
Mhm.
any and you can put a at gmail.com after it, and you can email me that way. Any old thing you want.
Mhm.
You can also follow me on Poetry and Paintings NJ. That
Yeah,
is
I'm gonna follow you on that because I want to do like a paint. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
it's okay.
Yeah, I want to do the next time next time you are you do you do that virtually, or do you do that, like, do you schedule stuff?
I do an in-person event. Hopefully
Okay.
I'll do another one. I have put a pause on it for now because of my treatments and things like that. I don't want to put myself through too much because like we
Okay.
said, I got to rest too. So
Hmm. But when you do one, please inbox me. Let me know. I
yes,
am definitely interested in
absolutely.
doing something like that.
Okay, I will. I will
Yes.
definitely let you know.
Yes.
But yeah, so if anyone wants to message me, I have girls who like message me about like their narcissistic exes and like
Mhm.
their rapists and things all the time. Um, so if you want to talk about that, you can. I just ask that you like check where I'm at first. Because I might not be in a good space for to hold that. So
Mhm.
mhm.
And that's good. That's good that you know your boundaries and you have some limits and things like that. So yeah, that's good. Good, yes. All right, girl, it has been amazing. Thank you for your poetry, please. I so appreciate that. I know I kind of sprung that on you, but I can't have anybody grace the stage if they're a poet and they don't spit.
I feel you,
I
girl.
can't
It's
do
all
it.
good.
You did it to me.
It's true. We did. I didn't know Kenny didn't warn you, so I'm sorry.
I just expect it.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
but I love you for that. Thank you. And I'd like to see you back.
Yeah.
Maybe when I'll do some sort of I don't know. I don't want to call it a conference, but like maybe um a poetry virtual thing. I don't know.
Yeah, we do virtual mics all the time, especially on
Yeah,
Instagram Live. That's
I'll
popular.
probably do it there. Yep. All right, look at us already trying to plan. All
Fact.
right. Well, listen, thank you, everybody. This is Sammy B. She is the place to be. Follow her. She's got some great insight. And she's always doing events. I know I threw a couple people, like couple vendors your way, hopefully that you're able to use them in the future. But yeah, she's always looking for some vendors and some support for her events. Follow her, follow her, follow her. She's all right, y'all. Y'all, thank you for this concludes our episode. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll be back next month. Bye, y'all.
Bye.